I truly believe that every young man needs to have experienced at least one physical fight in their life to understand that you have to respect people, man. You don't get to just talk crazy and not expect anything to happen to you. I see that way too often nowadays in this day and age. It's like too many young boys, young men, whatever the age group is, they walk around and think that they are invincible. They think that their words don't hold power. They think that they could go around disrespecting any and everybody. Doesn't matter what gender, doesn't matter what race. They feel like they can get away with just talking crazy to anybody that they encounter. And a lot of those kids or young men haven't understood what happens when you come across the wrong one. And I'm not sitting here trying to act like I'm a tough guy or nothing. I don't really condone fighting, but I do think that it has an important role in a young man's life. I would much rather have peace than violence, but you can't fully understand and be grateful for peace unless you've dealt with violence before. I've had a few fights when I was growing up, when I was a kid, and I understand that it's not a good situation to be in, man, for either parties. Sometimes it's inevitable. Sometimes you have to stand up for yourself and you have to fight. But it's like these kids nowadays, they've never learned to think before you speak. So let me tell a quick story. When I was growing up, my two older brothers thought that it would be a good idea to teach me how to fight. Now, I think that is a good idea. I don't disagree with it. I think that every young boy and every young man should know how to defend themselves because you never know when somebody's going to try you. But the method that my two brothers chose was super unorthodox, and I do not recommend. My two older brothers were level 99 instigators, man. They maxed the instigating badge out. They prestiged it a couple times. Let me just put it like that. They would find any kid around my age, and I was like 8, 9 at the time. So I'm in what, second, third grade, fourth grade. They would find any kid around my age, and before I even came outside, they would start instigating. They would start talking trash, telling them that he sucked at basketball or football, going for the jugular. Anything that a little kid, has attached his ego to, they're attacking. The kid can say he's a good artist. Nigga, your paintings suck. Nigga, you trash. My brother could draw better than you. Basically, anything that he was good at, they hyped me up and said I was better at and that he was trash. And then what do? They ultimately bring it around. But you can't whoop my brother, though. That's like the go-to line for black dudes, man. You can't whoop me, though. So they would do all of this before I even got out of bed, man. They clocked in early. So by the time I wake up and I come outside, it's a Saturday morning. I'm happy. I'm cheesing like, oh, yeah, no school. I'm about to play all day. I come outside. As soon as I come outside, I see a beat red kid with his shirt off, ready to throw hands. And I'm looking around my brothers like, why is he so angry? And they say, hey, that's for you. Take your shirt off. Beat his ass. I'm sitting here like, can't look like a bitch. So I got to take my shirt off and throw the hands. So I'm just beating up random kids in the neighborhood. All because my older brothers wanted to teach me how to fight. So I tell that story to say, not to glorify fighting, not to brag and say, oh, I was beating kids up, but to say that I understand violence to some degree. Man, I was scared as heck when I'll come out the house and I'll see a kid ready to fight. What if I lose in front of my brothers? They are never going to let me have this down. But they're going to talk about this until the day I die. You remember when you got beat up by the white boy the other day? My girl right here. Why you got to bring it up in front of my girl? Even though I'm joking, I tell that story just to say every kid needs to know what that feeling of violence is like. That level of fear that you have, to understand that that's not a situation you want to be in. That's not a place that you want to be. You want to be in a state of peace, man. And it also allows you to be more grateful for a peaceful situation. If you grew up hard, like I know I didn't grow up hard at all, man. I lived in the suburbs. But if you're one of those dudes who lived in the hood or grew up in poverty and you saw people fighting all the time, You know that it's not a good feeling to constantly be stressed all the time, to be worried about if you're going to have to fight somebody today, if you're going to have to defend yourself, if you're going to have to defend your manhood, if you're going to have to, protect your sister or your brother. So I'm not recommending that you just go out and fight random people or anything like that, but I do think that it's important for kids to understand what is at stake when it comes to fighting. Whether you teach your kid how to fight in a civilized manner with just you, him, and like headgear to where he can feel the pain, but it's not going to harm him. Or if you take him to like a boxing course or class or something, I think it is very, very important for young boys and young men to know what could possibly happen to them if they do not respect others, if they don't know how to speak to people, if they think that it's cool to just walk around and say any and everything. um, that's not a society that I want to live in, man, where kids, I see it now, and it's very, very scary. It's very frightening. And I want to go upside some of these little kids' heads sometimes when I hear them speaking like a grown man and they're not. You can't walk up to anybody and say F this, F that, F you, F your mama, F your dad. That's the verbiage of somebody who's never been slapped. Like the Bible even says that if you discipline your children physically, that you could potentially save them from death. And I know some people might be listening to that and they're like, bro, that's crazy to think about. What it's saying is if you teach your kids early on, like even whoopings work, man. You don't have to teach them, put them in fights randomly. But if you discipline your kids and you whoop them physically, it lets them know that there could be a physical repercussion for things that you do and things that you say. And they're going to remember the pain that they went through when they said something dumb or did something dumb. I'm not saying just beat the hell out your kids for saying stupid stuff, because kids are kids and they're going to say dumb stuff. But obviously, as a parent, you need to use discernment. But it is important that they understand that there are physical consequences sometimes. Not everybody is going to respond to something that you do or say in the real world the same way. Somebody might, let's say a white dude might call me the N-word out in public. I don't care. I really don't. I'm one of those black dudes. I'm going to laugh and look at him and be like, he's an idiot. He's racist. He's dumb. I'm much smarter than him. But if they came across the wrong black dude, that dude might lose his life because he didn't understand you can't say whatever you want. But yeah, man, I've been rambling long enough. Teach your young brothers, your cousins, your nephews, your sons, the importance of respecting others, because it could lead to a physical altercation that they might not be able to get themselves out of, or they might not be able to win. So teach them when you can. And yeah, man, don't go around talking crazy to people. That's really what this video is about. But that's pretty much it for this video. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.